All right, so in StatCrunch, again, there are more detailed instructions that are posted in D2L. When we're going through and we're looking at this, we're going to go to Stat. We're going to select Calculator. We're going to select Normal, right, because we're dealing with our normal curve. And then we're going to have to enter a couple of numeric values in there. We're going to have to enter our mean and our standard deviation. And then you need to decide if you're going to select your standard value or your between value at the top of the window. For standard is if we're dealing with a less than or a greater than, and then the between is if we're dealing with a case like we did in the last example where we have a between. And then we're going to select compute, and we're going to put the little tick marks in there for the 68, 95, 99.7, because that's going to label our horizontal axis using the mean and standard deviation. Once you select that for a problem, if you're kind of going through and answering similar questions, you don't need to reselect it, but that way we can kind of see what's going on. All right, so in example 5 and 6, we were looking at seal pup lengths. Right, so what we had in example 5, we were asked about the probability of selecting a seal pup that is shorter than 28.0 inches. Right, so what we see here is a nice image of our curve shaded in nicely for us, given to us from StatCrunch. And that comes from going to Stat, selecting our normal calculator, and then notice that underneath here I have a couple of things that are filled in. Right, we put in our mean, which was 29.5. We put in our standard deviation, which was 1.2. Right, so these are values that we had to put in. And then we had to select the correct symbol and put the number here, right, for our, what we are looking for, shorter than 28.0 inches. And what we see here is almost identical to our answer that we had for example 5. If we round this off, right, this gives us about 11%, was our example to number 5 that we did using the table. So the nice thing is, in some problems, you will be able to bypass having to use the table, calculating your z-score and all of that stuff, because StatCrunch will do it for you. In example 6, we were still looking at our seal pup lengths, and what we were doing for those is we were looking for between. So notice that down here, same thing, we have to put in our mean, we had to put in our standard deviation. We have to make sure we select between in the menu up at the top, so that way we can put both of those values in, right? Because we're looking for between 27 and 31. And notice that this gives us, right, our same answer that we saw in example 6, that was about 88%. Right? So what we're getting in our tables should give us similar answers to what we are getting in StatCrunch for these sections. So again, it's up to you how you want to work through problems, or if you want to work through it by hand and then use StatCrunch to check. Whatever is going to be kind of easiest for you as you're going through your different homework and mini quizzes. Feel free to use one and or both techniques.